I come to you guys at a very strange angle, but it was the only way to get everything into shot. In today's video, we are delving back into the world of Trench Crusades to probably do the largest Trench Crusade project I will ever do, which is this incredible church cathedral thing, very kindly sent to us by Tabletop Terrain. And I actually asked for this. I have a video lined up which is part of my Green Stuff World collaboration to show off their new airbrush paints. And I was trying to think of an awesome canvas to use to show how good I think these paints are. And while I was scrolling on Instagram, I saw this absolute behemoth of a piece and I could not help myself. I messaged them and asked if I could use it for this video, and they very kindly said yes and sent me over this awesome piece. So that's what we're gonna do. In today's video, I'm gonna get this thing from this gray plastic straight off of the printers to a fully painted, gnarly looking Trench Church, which will of course make the centerpiece of any board I play for Trench Crusade. Before I get into the video, as always, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone there for continuing to support the channel in all the myriad of ways it is possible to do so. Watching any of the 3 channels or all of the 3 channels, thank you so much. Dropping comments on those videos and making sure that you subscribe to them all, that's absolutely incredible. And anyone else who goes the extra mile out there and supports over on Patreon, you guys keep the lights on, the cameras rolling, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. We have a million different reasons for you to get involved with Patreon. We get extra videos and podcasts and community showcases on our Patreon or on a Discord and all sorts of stuff like that. And we also do monthly giveaways. Now last month we gave away a Mechanicum army. This month we are giving away something apocalyptic, something that may bring about the Armageddon. That's just a little clue. We'll fill in more details later in the month. But if you want to be in a chance of winning something Armageddon related, then make sure you sign up to the Patreon at any tier to be with a chance of winning. Okay, without further ado, let's dive in and get started on this awesome piece. Okay, so these are the new Green Stuff World airbrush paints. They had a Kickstarter for them. It was very successful. I'm not actually sure if the Kickstarter is still going on, but they have sponsored me to have a little look at these paints. And this isn't the first video that I have done with them. I did a couple on one of my other channels for Lord of the Rings to just really kind of practice with them and make sure I had a good handle on them and to make sure, you know, I felt positively about them before I moved on and did like a proper big video on them. And I must say that I'm quite impressed by them. I only have a limited palette of about 20 colors to play from. Lots of nice natural tones, lots of browns and greens, which works for me because obviously I'm doing some Trench Crusade stuff, which is obviously very kind of drab. So things like the dark umber paint that I'm applying to the bottom here really does work a treat. And then we jump up to something like this slate gray. It just goes through the airbrush like a dream. Now, some people often talk about the idea of airbrush paints not being required. You just mix your own paints into airbrush paints. And what I say to those people is, yes, of course you can do that. Especially if you're a painter who's doing small projects. But you got to remember that however thin you make a paint changes the opacity of it, and then that will dictate the coverage and the color you will get with it. So if you're going across an entire army or a large scale project and you keep mixing up the same colors, there will be a slight different hue and tone for the models with each kind of batch, which is not something that I'm looking for. So the convenience for me of just being able to pick up a paint, not have to thin it, not have to worry about it, and know that when I load that paint into my airbrush and spray it out, it is going to be the same consistent color every time. That's a big selling point for me. I've used the Games Workshop air paints, I've used the Army Painter air paints, Green Stuff World stuff now, and I'm enjoying them immensely. So I, for one, am kind of pro specific airbrush paints. That's why I jumped at the opportunity to play around with these when they asked. Going over to a nice khaki color here and carefully airbrushing in the sandbags that are trying to protect the front of this building. Obviously, it's a barricaded, awesome, big, gnarly church. It's such a cool piece, and I like that it's raised off the ground. You can see that there is trench works around the bottom of it, which means you can just basically plonk this down and it's almost counter sunk already. You just build other trench works around it, feeding off from it, and it definitely makes the centerpiece of quite a terrifying table. Now, it does have a full interior. I just didn't have all the time in the world to go in and finically paint up the floors and add in debris and little broken pieces of furniture and blood and splatter and all those kind of things. But I do like the idea of using this in, obviously, the games of Trench Crusade. But something about it is screaming The Last Church, which obviously is something that happened in the Warhammer 40k / Horus Heresy / Great Crusade era, where the Emperor was kind of abolishing all religion on Terra. And there was a story called The Last Church, which was literally him going to deal with the last church and having a conversation with the last priest about the whys and the hows and all that kind of stuff. It's a beautiful story. And when I seen this piece as like one solid thing, and then I started to paint it up, I really did. It just jumped out at me. I really want to play a Horus Heresy game now with this as the centerpiece. And it is literally like Thunder Warriors trying to take over from cultists to fight that. Like, there's something cool there. There's a cool scenario there. There's a cool story there. There's cool forces there. And I just need to figure out what that is and maybe try and get one of my friends to play one half of them and do that. I think that would be epic. So, who knows? But obviously, it's a very much a multi-purpose building. It will definitely dominate the center of many battlefields to come. And obviously, when it's completely done, like it will be at the end of this video, I have to find somewhere to store it. And that's a really big problem. It's huge. So, yeah, that's something I'm worrying about currently. But, you know, whatever. So obviously we've gotten all of the grays, stuff like that on. We started to work on the ground, and obviously there's quite a stark difference between the kind of earth and then the duck boards and the gray and the sandbags. And that's where I come in with colors like this. This olive green color is my favorite airbrush paint that they have so far, at least of the ones they've given me. I love this. It definitely just gives that kind of damp corner rock, kind of algae kind of look to stone. And I love that look. So I'm going to be airbrushing this into all the little recesses, anywhere where there's like little corners, anywhere the water is going to be kind of streaking down when it's raining, through any of the open windows, all the corners. And then obviously all the old duck boards and around the sandbags. It's like those sandbags might have been erected 150 years ago. This is nothing new. The churches have been fought over and taken back and taken over and taken back over and over again. These war zones are ancient. So all these buildings are going to be decrepit and old and not maintained. There's no crew coming in to kind of mortar the walls and fix it all up. They just kind of patch it up as best they can and hold it as long as they can. And it's kind of a grim reality of it. Going back in now with that moonstone color, the kind of brighter gray, just to tidy up the stonework and pull back a little bit of the green and tidy up some of the edges and basically highlight the gray. And then we go in with our black stallion is the last color we're going to do. And this is for anywhere where there's big chunks blown out of the ceiling. These chunks are not blown out by catapults or whatever. They're blown out by artillery pieces. All of the rock and holes and scorch marks are definitely going to be kind of blackened and worn. So I think just once again to break up the gray, adding in a little bit of kind of scorch damage to the building in all those locations, I think will add a beautiful little effect and finish off this beautiful piece very nicely. Now, obviously, I would like to go in a little bit more detail with the kind of soil texture. And the reason I'm not is I'm not really sure what direction I want to go with that for the rest of the board. And I basically don't own a Trench Crusade mat yet. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what my ground looks like. So I'm going to wait until I have stuff like that. And then I'll go back in. I'm going to retouch up the browns and stuff on the bottom, so they blend into that more, and then I'll know what kind of grass tufts I want to use, or if I want to put any dried old bushes or anything like that in. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 airbrush paints later, and we have this, our awesome Trench Crusade church / cathedral. It's got all of its bits and pieces painted. I think it turned out awesome. I think it's minimum effort with maximum reward, and I cannot wait to get the rest of the trench system made for it. And obviously get that starter set, get those guys painted up, and start playing some games. Let me know what you think of this in the comments below, and make sure you do go ahead and check out the Green Stuff World Kickstarter / their new air paints on their website. They're absolutely incredible, and I think they're definitely worth your time. Thank you guys so much for sticking around at the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one.